Hey, let's see. Okay, so let's get Matt in here. Oops. Hey,
Hello.
there you are. Hey, Matt. Okay, so I'm gonna call it Independence versus Fascism, and we're gonna start in about 1 minute. You ready?
As ready as I get.
Okay, hang on a sec. Hey, folks, sorry about that. If you heard the beginning there, wasn't quite ready to start and didn't realize I'd started. The name of the show today, you're actually listening again to California Calexit Radio Mach 2.0, and you're listening to me and Matt Owens. And name of today's show is Independence versus Fascism. Matt, have you heard about President? Well, I'm not going to call him president because he's not presidential. He's trying to undo the 14th Amendment with an executive order. It's in the Constitution, and he's trying to undo it with an executive order in order to put an end to the entrance of the caravan coming across our California border.
Actually, it's worse than that. 14th Amendment was the one that was passed right after the 13th. It's a post-Civil War Reconstruction Amendment. 13th Amendment abolished slavery. 14th Amendment provided equal citizenship and protection to ex-slaves. Okay? And so those are the, big clauses is equal citizenship to everybody born in the United States and equal protection under its laws. Parts of that have been in jeopardy for a long time. The Equal Protection Clause has been violated by our federal student loan laws for ages. Okay. Because only student loans cannot be discharged in bankruptcy and aren't subject to the statute of limitations. Therefore, folks that owe on student loans are victims of an abrogation of the Equal Protection Clause. But Trump's preferring to go a step further. Not only a lot of steps further, because not only is he seeking to challenge the birthright citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment, he's planning to do it by means of an executive order, which is a usurpation of both the legislative branch and of the judicial branch. Because the only way that you're supposed to be able to amend the U.S. Constitution is through the amendment process. Like prohibition, for example, that was a constitutional amendment that was repealed by another constitutional amendment. And so if you want to repeal this or that clause of the Constitution, this or that amendment, you make another amendment. That's how it's done. There is a move on Congress to support Trump and pass legislation, but it doesn't pass the constitutional test either. But Trump is even proposing a usurpation to bypass that by executive order. Okay, so he's preparing to do it unilaterally and unconstitutionally. Unfortunately, he has a friendly Supreme Court now. One that will not be very vigilant in vouchsafing the federal Constitution as it has been doing since Marbury versus Madison, way back at the beginnings of the U.S. So basically, he's going to put out this executive order unless he gets talked out of it, which he may. The Republicans are going to go pedal to the metal with this abrogation of the Constitution, which we'll see how much metal there is under their pedal come after the midterms. And then we shall see what we shall see on the courts. Probably they'll be lower courts will throw it out. It'll go up to the Supreme Court, and they might even hear it. Okay, so we're very, very close to having as serious a shutdown of our constitutional system as, say, happened in Russia when Boris Yeltsin just simply threw out the Soviet-era constitution, got rid of, by means of a coup, uncooperative legislature, and ruled by decree, and then promulgated a new constitution. So we are very, very close to a complete usurpation
So, Matt,
of the federal constitution.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to know, what do you think this will do to or for the Collexit movement, the movement to liberate California from the rest of the United States?
It will mushroom it, I think, because, again, this is pertaining to natural-born citizens of undocumented parents on this side of the border at the same time, simultaneously, that a military confrontation is being readied against civilians on our inter-California border between Alta and Baja. Okay, so he's getting ready to do that. And unfortunately, the new incoming Mexican president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, hasn't taken office yet. He don't take office till December 1st. Okay, so the former guy, Enrique Peña Nieto, is still in his lame duck presidency. He's supposed to be managing a transition between his presidency and that of AMLO. Mm-hmm. And so whatever they do on that side of the border is going to be under Peña Nieto's orders, not AMLO. Okay, so we shall see. And, Peña Nieto is much more cooperative with the U.S. government than AMLO will be. AMLO wrote a book called Oye Trump. Hey, listen up, Trump. Okay, that's the name of a book that AMLO just wrote. Mm-hmm. But he's not president yet. Okay, he is not president yet. He's getting ready. And we shall see what happens December 1st. So there's two dates that are coming up that pertain to this crisis, one right after the other. One is, of course, the U.S. Midterm election coming up on November 6th. And then right after that, within less than a month, December 1st, AMLO takes office on the other side of the Inter-California, in our mother country. So things are going to be moving very, very quickly. And already we're getting ready some actions, for example, that are going to be taking place on in front of the LA Mexican consulate and so on. And various people are making various preparations for when the caravana arrives at the U.S.-Mexican border, which won't just be here. They're splitting up in Mexico City. Some are going along the Gulf Coast to Texas. Some are going the mid-route towards El Paso. Some are coming here. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see what the results are at each border crossing. And there's a lot of them, not just the major ones like Tijuana and Juarez, but there's a whole bunch of little ones. Okay.
And Matt,
it's a long border.
Right. Matt, did you say you'd be discussing the same sort of topic on your next show? You were going to be interviewed on another radio show shortly today?
It's not a radio show. It's a conference call with the Socialist Community Action Network. Okay, that's a conference call. But I will be referencing this show there.
Excellent. When I talk to them. And can anyone join in on that conference call, Matt?
Well, It's a conference call for people that are members of Socialist CAN, but it's not hard to get into. You can communicate with them and see, if you'd be interested in being part of Socialist CAN. It's a Facebook group. Okay, it's a Facebook group.
Excellent. Tell them how to find that Facebook group.
Okay, let me pull up. If I look at my messenger, if I look on straight Facebook, actually, boom. Yeah, it's called Socialist. Connection Action Network. Okay, Socialist Connection Action Network. Right now it stands at over 100 members. Okay, so it's called Socialist Connection Action Network. Say that 5 times fast. And you can find that. You can talk to them, see if they'll add you on. And if so, bada bing, you should be able to call the conference call.
And do you have to be a resident of California to join that group?
Not that I know of. Okay. Not that I know
of. Okay. And so put it in a nutshell for me. Why should we care about the 14th Amendment and what Trump is trying to do with his executive order to erase that 14th Amendment? Why should we care about that as already naturalized or born here American citizens?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is, of course, the amendment itself and the clause that he's attacking, which is birthright citizenship, which has been the case ever since the end of the Civil War. Again, this is part of the amendments that were passed after the end of the Civil War. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment offered ex-slaves full citizenship and equal protection under the laws. How effective that was depends on when you're looking, but it was made part of the Constitution directly after the victory of the Union force in the Civil War. So it is part of that victory. To attack that is to attack that victory, is to hand a major concession back to the Confederate side. Okay. And so this goes all the way back to that. Again, it has been violated. The equal protection was certainly violated when Japanese American citizens were interned. So there have been violations. But this is more than just a violation. It is an abrogation. It is an attempt to repeal a clause of the Constitution by executive order. That gets into the thing that's just as scary as what that amendment is the fact that Trump is basically seeking to rule by decree. Mm-hmm. He wants to see if he can get away with ruling by decree. You're going to see a lot of this, particularly from Brazil. Now that you got a fascist president in Brazil, they're going to be watching each other like Hitler and Mussolini used to watch each other. Let's see what we can get away with. And if you get away with it, well, I'll try it. So Mussolini came to power a decade before Hitler. Okay, both products of the First World War. Mussolini came to power in the 1920 era. Hitler tried and finally got it in 1930s, right? But after Hitler came to power, Mussolini was actually kind of alarmed because Hitler wasn't actually a German. He was an Austrian, though Austrians wanted South Tyrol back. And it was the fight to seize South Tyrol from Austria that helped build the fascist party in Italy. So he was a little alarmed at first, but then, Hitler calmed him down and says, no, I'm not going to try for that. But they watched each other. Okay. Mussolini would, try to shut down opposition, had been shutting down opposition. And Hitler's like, hey, let's try that. And he got away with it. And then he began to engineer the Holocaust. And Mussolini's like, that's interesting. Well, let's see what we can do. Maybe we can help. And then they began to